David. Oh, oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, it's always that one.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Is Jim?
I hadn't heard anything different. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe you scared him off.
Oh, no.
No, I haven't been. I got an email from him last Thursday about a contract
There he is,
agreement.
right there.
There he is.
Just talking about him. Here he comes.
Thought maybe you went AWOL.
What's that?
Thought maybe you went AWOL.
No, I had to stop at the office because a certain someone taking Susan's place didn't send me all my materials.
I know. I
So I had
sent
to
it.
stop at the office and get them printed.
It sounds like a good excuse.
I sent it to both emails though, because I didn't know which one.
Berkeley is the one I want.
I sent it to CO DeKalb and Berkeley.
Yeah. Well, and DeKalb automatically defaults to me.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. I'm sorry, I didn't know there was a commissioner packet email.
Yeah,
So I sent
no,
them individual and I
It's
thought,
no big deal. I wondered, 'cause I called Susan,
I-
not knowing she was
gone.
going to Gatlinburg.
Yeah, she is gone, so you got me today.
I actually have another one. Go ahead. But it's not reliable.
Okay, this is the 17th. Oh, okay. So you'll forgive me, huh?
Oh, you're already forgetting.
Okay.
I'm gonna have some pushback. Not to doing it. If we get money's coming from somewhere other than redevelopment, get it back. I'm all for doing this. I don't have any problem with that.
Well, what, when I talked to, yes, he can actually talk to
Well, that helps to go to the top.
I mean, not
Okay with it?
well, instead of that, they said,
Oh, that's for Jim. Never
she
mind.
said
I mean, laying stuff out.
that
didn't get an affirmative on that, you did, and that makes me feel more comfortable about it.
I'm not saying it's fine right now.
If the thing goes
Oh, it's not
with
wrong.
the EDC, we're home free, if it does. And it looks like they made a decision no matter what.
I say that we pay our TIF funds. If there are proceeds on, it'll reimburse the TIF.
Right. Which is what we're doing on
So
everybody's
so I
fees.
think that's satisfactory.
I agree with you. Is this your copy? You can take it back. I've
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
I've got copies. Okay.
I don't think we can get any more assurances. In my opinion, because
Covering their,
well, yeah, everything they do.
yes, exactly. Exactly, I agree. Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Got caught up in the newspaper. Somebody, the organizer of that parade, the roads got screwed up. Had to file.
Okay, I was going to ask you this morning if we had an ordinance to that effect.
Don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't think we did.
Somebody's gonna have to do some research.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do know that any other event that's been held at the bridge, they've always come and asked for permission.
Right.
And that wasn't in the earlier article.
Yeah. Yeah,
File for the permit, not necessarily.
yeah, that's,
Okay. Okay. You have one of these, right?
We need to keep
Yeah, do we need to keep this?
our insurance. Liability carrier
I thought she said they did.
I thought they did too, but I wanna make sure.
Okay. I think they do,
I
but
spent all the last week trying to get. I think I've been gone for a while.
yeah, I know.
Out in the water, Todd?
Underwater's my problem. I'm so sick, it's not funny.
Well, thank you for staying away from us. That's too bad. Not COVID, is it?
He doesn't.
Is it COVID?
Don't send it over the airways.
no.
Yeah.
Keep it down there.
I've been staying away from my Fort Wayne office because there's 3 or 4 people that have gotten it.
Is that right?
They-
Crank us up, Carla. Right. The clock is running, and so I will call this meeting to order of the DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is October 17th, 2022. Want to welcome all the visitors we have in the audience today. Anybody that hasn't signed in, we ask that you sign in on the clipboard up on the podium. Morning, Todd. Sorry you're underwater, under the weather. Yeah, get better. And,
Yeah.
So anyway, good morning, Dottie,
Good morning.
and you are on.
I am on. Let's talk about some hiring. First of all, we had out at Community Corrections a separation of the part-time secretary. So we're hoping that you will allow them to refill that position. It's been one that, has been able to, because of their late day that they do on Wednesday, that person has been able to come in on Wednesday mornings and has kind of filled in for lunches. So we're hoping that you will agree that that's, an important part out there that they need to refill. Next is the one that we were most concerned with last week was Sunny Meadows. I did stop at two companies that provide services, temporarily employees. I went to their offices. I dropped off the job descriptions, the postings for those positions, and I'm hoping to hear back maybe today. However, last week I received 3 applications for the 2 full-time and the 2 part-time positions out there. So hopefully there's something, going on. That we can maybe fill those positions. And then another topic 8 weeks before the administrator's final day. So just to keep that in mind. With Development Services, we had an interview last week for their part-time secretary position. And Chris did receive a few more resumes and is reviewing those. So we'll see if he has any more interviews. The Title 4D will be doing a whole day of interviews on October the 24th is when they have those scheduled. And the Extension Office has 2 interviews scheduled for their full-time administrative assistant position. I believe that's this week. So they're moving on that. I do not have an update on the highway situation. I haven't received anything more on Indeed, nor do I have an update on the Sheriff's Department on their hiring. However, last week and the week before, I had Lindsay use her creative skills and put together 3 different flyers for the confinement officers, for Sunny Meadows, and for the Highway Department. And we've distributed those to the individual departments to pass out to their employees and to post wherever they would like to post them. We have them posted at various places and also downstairs, that bulletin board, that movable bulletin board that is on the near the stairwell. And so hopefully we'll drum up some more business that way. Whether or not for the Highway Department, Ben and I did talk. It's like, well, do we want to spend the money for a newspaper article or, ad? The last time we did it, it really didn't drive anybody. That was disappointing. And what do we do about the confinement officers? It's that's a tough one to fill right now. Kind of the way that a lot of people feel about law enforcement. So we really need to hit those populations who are looking at those law enforcement careers. such as the Impact Center, the vocational high school in Kendallville, and Ivy Tech, and PFW, the schools around here. How do we get, how do we really get those individuals interested in joining us, maybe before they have their criminal justice or their law enforcement degree or certificate or whatever it might be. There are there's a job fair, and our confinement officers, the sheriff's department knows about that. And of course, we have all the paraphernalia to put together a really nice table at the job fair, and they can certainly, ask us to provide that. So we're trying to figure out just more ways of getting the information out, and it's part of it is just how people feel about law enforcement, I think. So we keep working on that. The next thing would be the job descriptions I've given you for all of the non-elected department heads, and I had already given you several different options for performance evaluations on from which to choose, or if maybe you guys already had one that you really wanted to use. But we are getting a few from different department heads. We've already had some come in. Some of our departments do theirs earlier in the year, about mid-year. So we already have some, but we're still waiting for many more. But I wanted to make sure that you had the actual job description for those department heads that you will be doing evaluations on. And of course, if you need anything, if you want an electronic copy, you can always, ask me. I've got those as PDFs. Another thing that we talked about last week or the week before, CPR training, some recertification for employees, and also some new certifications. And I already told you about the one current employee that we have who here in the courthouse who is certified to do those. We also have two dispatchers out at Central Communications who are certified to do those trainings, and they actually did, one of them did the last training for the Sheriff's Department, and I checked with Brian Humbarger, and he is willing to pay those two employees their regular hourly rate to be able to do the CPR training for our employees, and then all yes, it's all county money, but then we would have to pay the fee, the $25 fee for the CPR cards, those certifications that the employees, that anyone gets who goes through the training. So we're still running on that. We did look into the Red Cross, we looked into the Heart Association, we looked into Parkview. And this might actually be our best price and best bet. We could work very closely with those, with those employees who are already, a part of us, and work with their schedules and maybe get some more flexibility with classes. So I'm still running on that.
Would that be open to everybody?
Yeah, all employees.
All
Yep.
employees?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yeah. So we've done this a few other times. Of course, COVID kind of messed things up. Mm-hmm. And we've had okay responses. The whole idea is at least you have, a few people scattered all over, and that they can do those things until the EMS unit gets there. So, it would be open to all employees. Yeah. So I'll keep working on that. The last thing I have is our work comp, and we had 2 work comp claims close last month, the end of September, and one was just a record only. Nothing came of it when the incident was reported. The other one was out at Community Corrections, and that one was closed, taken care of. And then we do have 6 open work comp claims, six from the Sheriff's Department, 1 from the Highway, 1 from Sunny Meadows, and that employee is no longer with us, and 1 from the Change Academy. Once again, that employee is no longer with us, but that one is remaining open because it's in subrogation. IPEP is hoping to recover those damages from the property owner because it was deemed the employee was walking into work and slipped on the ice that was covered by snow that hadn't been removed by the property owner. This is a Change Academy employee. And so, and that one was actually from February of 2021.
Really?
So we're still waiting on that one. The one from Sunny Meadows that had happened in September of 2021, and the employee is no longer with us. IPEP has sent the person a letter and has offered a flat, a disability, quote unquote, letter. And so we're waiting to hear back from that so that they can close that one. So the biggest one that we have right now is an incident that it was training a canine from October of 2020. And that one has, they've incurred $242,000 on that claim. There have been 2 surgeries involved in it due to rotator cuff or the right shoulder. So anyway, that one's kind of a long time coming. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that that one works out. So anyway, that's what I have. What do you guys have for me?
Mike, anything for Dottie?
No, not for Dottie. I think we'll have to schedule an executive session in order to do those performance evaluations. Can't do that in a public meeting, and if the 3 of us are going to do it together, we'll need to set an executive session.
Yeah. I believe that is correct. Those employees.
Yep.
Jim, anything?
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Todd, anything for Dottie?
Good, thank you.
I think I'm good.
Well, all right. Okay.
I see you got your new facade up and your new...
Yes, new facade. Oh, my. And we've had a new, Larry may have already told you about a light that he put in the back. You know that little area, courtyard area, parking, whatever. That is fantastic. It just, what was that? Last year, he put new lighting up at the back entrance. Well, our probation officers really use the entrance that goes more into their wing. And so having that extra light out there will really help because, as the seasons change and it's so much darker earlier in the morning and later at night, whatever, and as they come and go. And they have late nights, so it's nice to have that. Plus, the porch canopy over the front entrance. If you look up above, that has been refaced with the same metal burnished whatever that was used for the fascia. And we have new lighting in there. I don't believe the lighting has worked since I came on board, and Larry's pretty sure it hasn't worked since he came on board. So now we have some nice lights out front for the front entrance, which is very helpful since That's the main entrance for our visitors, and we want to make sure that they are safe coming into our building. So,
Yeah.
yeah, looks good.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I expect to
Okay.
see you out there polishing things
Yes,
on
I'll
a
be-
regular basis.
That's right. I'll be out there, yes, polishing. Hey, thanks again. Yeah,
Yeah.
they look good, and I'm sure it'll be safer and maybe not have as many bugs and bats. And birds.
Visitors,
Visitors, yes. Those little
Visitors.
winged visitors,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
bugs and all.
Unwelcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unwelcome
that
is
was
right.
pretty nasty and behind that. It was.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, yeah. When they pulled the other, gravel stuff off, ugh, yeah,
Yeah,
nasty.
that was way overdue.
It was, yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Dottie.
Thank you. All
Have a
right.
good day, good week. All right, let's roll into payroll.
I'll move to approve payroll as presented.
You want a second payroll? Got a motion to approve payroll and a second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. We'll pay the help. Minutes. Chance to read the minutes. Did you, Todd, get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes, I did, and I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion is second to approve minutes. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Minutes are approved. Travel. Any questions on travel?
Nope, I'll move for approval.
I will second travel. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Travel is approved. Well. Town of St. Joe ordinance. Let's, we got the ordinance for the, giving the street to the town of St. Joe,
County Road 60.
Oh,
County Road 60, yeah.
Yep, I read that.
1,700-foot section.
We need to read that.
We will need to read it first time out.
Yeah. Madam Secretary, you want to read that for us?
Every last
We
word.
got,
Every last word. Okay.
Pronounce them all right, too.
Ordinance number 2022 R14, DeKalb County Code Section 8-1-2-20, DeKalb County Commissioners. An ordinance confirming DeKalb County, Indiana, by and through its Board of County Commissioners, the transfer of jurisdiction of portions of County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street to the town of St. Joe. Whereas DeKalb County and the town of St. Joe have discussed the fact that a portion of County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street would better meet the needs of the citizens if it were under the control of the town of St. Joe. And whereas both the town of St. Joe and DeKalb County, Indiana, believe it is in the best interest of the parties that the road described herein be transferred from DeKalb County, Indiana to the town of St. Joe. Now therefore, be it hereby ordained by the DeKalb County Commissioners of DeKalb County, Indiana, that Section 1, the town of St. Joe has expressed an interest in having County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street transferred to its jurisdiction and has expressed a willingness to accept said County Road 60 and has agreed to control, govern, and maintain said County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street. Section 2, DeKalb County, Indiana, by and through its Board of County Commissioners, agrees with the transfer of said County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street to the sole care and control, governance, and maintenance to the towns of St. Joe. Section 3, DeKalb County, Indiana, by and through its Board of County Commissioners hereby transfers County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street to the municipal town of St. Joe, effective immediately upon passage of this ordinance and the acceptance by the town of St. Joe of County Road 60 between State Road 1 and Whitney Street, and assumes control, governance, and maintenance of said portion of County Road 60. Read.
Yeah, Carla.
Move to approve ordinance 2022-R-14 on first reading.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. First reading. I'm thinking we just hold off, do the second, third next week.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, and that puts us to miscellaneous topics before we've got another 20 minutes before our next meeting scheduled. Rebecca Calhoun. So I assume, I don't know, you folks in the audience, you got some comments you would like to make? We got a few minutes here. We can slide you in here and see what's
How's everyone
going
doing?
on.
So I'm back again on solar. Once again, I'm a landowner. Actually, I'm not a landowner. I'm an adjacent landowner.
He needs to state his
Name and
name.
address,
Andrew
please.
Provines.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But Andrew, what's your name?
Provines. Provines.
Thank you.
So I have a couple more thoughts just in general, looking for a few answers, not huge explanations, but I have a couple thoughts. So the deeper you go into this, the more down the rabbit hole you go, as far as research, places around us that are getting solar farms, other parts of the country, like things get worse and worse. Like there's more problems, there's more soil runoff, there's more, invasive species of weeds, all those different types of things. Erosion around all of the poles. It seems like everywhere solar companies go, they make a lot of promises and then they never deliver. So one of my thoughts is, what do we have in place for actually punishing them for that, or punitive, how do we take care of these things? So if all that soil erodes into my property or ruins, my uncle's farmland because it's running off, what do we do about that?
I have a question. Do you think
Yeah.
erosion is really worse in a solar farm or if it's open agriculture?
Yes,
I mean, the
because I
soil's only
live,
being disturbed one time, basically, with
I
the
live
solar
out
farm
there
going in.
and I don't see erosion coming onto the property. But if you do a lot of research on the internet, they have pictures of solar farms that have literally just eroded out. I mean, there's people walking through, this is my property. Look at that. Here's all these invasive species. Here's all this erosion. Now, is that everywhere? I'm just asking, what do we do if that happens? Because in the ordinance, I don't see a lot of, they're going to get in trouble in this way, or they're going to get charged this much. So for a massive solar farm or utility scale solar, I mean, that's really what it is. We're not really talking about a farm, we're talking about utility scale solar. So in that scenario, if they let a bunch of invasive species of weeds go everywhere, propagate into other farmers' property, or erosion, or any of these numbers of things, what do we do about that? Because they're huge. They're getting $50,000 an acre of taxpayer money, which means a tiny fine to them is no big deal. So it doesn't matter to them. They have no reason to keep up these properties.
They're getting what? Taxpayer money?
Basically, what has been shown on the internet through a lot of different calculations is they're getting about $50,000 per acre of subsidies. So for 5,000 to 6,000 acres, that's about 248 million to 300 million before.
That is 100% false, at least. You're not, DeKalb taxpayers are not subsidizing anything.
No. This is federal subsidies.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with DeKalb. This is federal subsidies for land.
All right,
I'm sorry, not the county.
good
No.
distinction.
Yeah.
All right, well, I can tell you that as part of the ordinance, they have to have an approved soil and water plan from DeKalb County Soil and Water
Right.
for erosion and all the Rule 5 requirements,
Okay.
and an approved drainage plan that is approved by the surveyor's office. And without those two things, they don't build the first panel. I can certainly vouch for the validity and the detail of both soil and water and the surveyor's office in making sure those things are designed properly to avoid just exactly those kind of problems.
But that's an approved plan, and that is definitely, you need to abide by this. But, you know, the law is not to drink and drive, but we see that that didn't hold true in Fort Wayne. We can walk through the law anytime. I want to know what what the actual actions that'll be taken against them. That's my question.
The Department of Development Services would most likely be overseeing this. It would be a breach of their agreement that our Department of Development Services could, through the county attorney, initiate a claim that they're in default under the agreements, and, you know, and that brings with it all kinds of other remedies. Now, your concern is it won't be considered serious enough for the county to do that, and I know the head of the Department of Development Services well enough to know that he would follow through on it, and he's got somebody employed by his office who's an enforcement official. You know, yeah, it's not big money to them if there's a fine, but we need to take a look and see what other remedies we have in addition to a fine. And I believe that there are some under it. I don't have it here available to talk to you about.
Well,
But there are remedies.
And there are more than just, particularly in the case of erosion and soil moving to your property, that involves more than just a county body. I mean, that involves, you get state agencies and DNR and IDEM and so forth get involved in those sort of things. So, you know, and I've seen some of the pictures that you're talking of, and I can probably find you 3 that look like grazing land, you know, as opposed for every one of the
I didn't say there
horror
wasn't
stories.
good ones.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm worried about ours being one of the bad ones. And my concern is not for the county. I think that our county, or it's not from the county. I think our county will do their best, and I think they will fine if they, you know, if they mess up. My concern is that, you know, to them, does it really matter? And they've got massive structures in place. They've taken up all this land. It's not like you can kick them out. It's not you'd be like, you guys screwed up really bad. We're getting rid of you. That's my concern, is what we do about them so that they feel, hey, we need to maintain this.
My experience with all of the county commissioners over the last 18 years is that they do take action. I can tell you one department, and I don't want to discuss specifics,
Gotcha.
but they violated one of our ordinances, and we did some research, and the commissioners authorized me to threaten the owner or the manager of that company with pulling his retail merchant certificate, which would put him out of business.
Okay.
And that was, you know, not that big of a deal, money-wise, that they were behind in paying. But it was still something that these commissioners here, all 3 of them, have followed through on it. Now, can I tell you that's what it's going to be like in 20 years? No, I'm not going to be here in 20 years.
Right. And like I said, I'm not worried about, I think the county does the best for the county. I want to make sure, you know, but my concern is the company, you know, the utility scale solar companies. It's not that you folks won't take action.
Well, but, I mean, we hold the reins on that. So, I mean, I think probably at worst case scenario, from a court remedy, we can shut them down until they remedy the situation.
Yes.
I mean, that's
The only thing that you're really at risk of is not the commissioners, but if there's some federal legislation that takes priority, and it's an area that the commissioners can't do anything about it, but we couldn't do anything about it anyhow, you know, without that legislation.
yeah, or state legislation. I mean,
Yeah.
2 years ago, the state tried to take over all of the siting and zoning and everything for solar and wind, and we were able to fight that and keep that under home rule. But you know, they would love to have that opportunity. I expect it's going to come up again the next legislative session, some form of that, and
like I
You know,
said,
I
it's
think those
not,
decisions are best made at a local level.
yep, and I think the local level has our best interest in
Yeah.
heart for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
But my concern is those, those are a couple more. I'll be back next week with more concerns, more questions, because as I try to dig into this and figure it out. My last statement that I would like to make is, for the protection, the future, the safety of our residents, I would like to have the ordinance open back up for some amendments for some of the different concerns that have been voiced or at least considered. That's my last statement.
Well, the ordinance was approved following any number of public hearings, and it would be the Plan Commission that would have to institute that. They'd have the support of the commissioners, but it would go through the Plan Commission.
And I'll voice it there as well. I figured since this is recorded, it's a good place for me to get my concerns out and also, voice that I would like that open back up. It's kind of like last week when we talked a little bit about fire, hey, we can make an amendment so that you guys are covered for our safety, for everybody's safety in the county.
And when I talk in terms of the Plan Commission, it's the head of the Department of Developmental Services.
Let me just address
Yeah.
that from last week, too. The ordinance already has a provision for the solar companies to furnish a certificate of insurance for all the non-participating property owners, $500,000.
Okay, I'll look through that again. That won't cover my property value whatsoever if they burn anything down. I mean, it won't be enough.
Well,
I'm going to leave you on that because I want these guys to get some time. Sorry.
all right.
Yeah.
Hello, Ryan Hoover, RyanHoover. My wife and I, what's that?
Address.
3935 County Road 75, Butler, Indiana. And I'm here to talk about the ordinance as well. My wife and I just purchased that land last year. It's 33 acres. Spent our life savings on it. And I'm about to be surrounded by solar panels. We bought the land hoping our kids, our two babies, could one day enjoy what we enjoy out there, the view, the nature. But unfortunately, that stands to be defined. But just to bring up what Andrew was talking about with the $500,000 policy, a $500,000 policy doesn't even rebuild the house that I'm building out there, or that I might build out there. I don't know if you guys know, but inflation's gone up quite a bit. Before COVID, this was a $365,000 house. And after COVID, I can't even get a quote under $500,000. Who's to say that inflation doesn't even go up even more 20 years from now? What if that $500,000 house is now a $375 or a $775 house? There's no reason for them not to have to cover 100% of all property damage done. To cap it is ridiculous. What happens if my pasture burns? I have 33 acres for cows. What if that burns? What about my auxiliary barns? Nothing's cheap right now. We need to protect us more. And so with the $500,000 cap, I'm sure in a lot of counties that's really nice. But to me, somebody who's worked from the bottom to get to where they are, haven't borrowed money from anybody, I worked my butt off to be debt-free, this really, really scares me. And the whole fire situation out there even scares me more. And I know that the chance of a fire out there is so minimal, but next to the devil, assumption is the worst of all evils. And we're just assuming there's never going to be a fire. We need bigger setbacks to allow the fire department, which is 25 minutes away, to travel to my house. And if we can't do larger setbacks, we need to require these people to put in suppression systems. They're a little more expensive, but they do what they're told. They suppress the fire by releasing chemical gases. And if that's not an option, then we need to get a fire station closer to us. Now, some of these are really unrealistic, I know that, but a deeper setback from a property line gives the fire department much more time to respond to any type of fire.
Well, fire hazards, or the fire, and I've looked at that really carefully. The fires are not the solar panels, so moving those back isn't going to do anything. The fires are grass fires and that sort of thing, so a setback isn't going to...
A setback will give the fire department that much more time to respond to a
Not if
burning.
there's grass up to the property line.
A farmer told me, he goes, what's the difference between 100 acres of beans burning and 100 acres of a solar panel burning? I said, realistically, not much, except the thousands and thousands of foot of wire running through that field that have heated electricity in it. So you can say that, and I'll agree with you. I'll go with you. But still, the cause of the fire is the thermodynamic exchange from the wire to the grass. I'm just trying to create a buffer to protect my family. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't oppose these. I just want to protect my family, sir. That's
I
it.
understand, and I absolutely agree with that. I will, and that was one of the things that that Jessica had jotted down was a fire plan. I talked with Jason Meek, who's the head of Homeland Security for DeKalb County and the emergency management manager for the county. He's currently working on a fire plan for those, for solar. He's contacted all of his counterparts throughout the state, and he's copied me on probably 25 responses that he's gotten so far.
Okay.
So by the time there's any commercial solar field in operation in DeKalb County, there will be a very thorough fire plan for all of those
Excellent.
installations. I think that's a very important thing.
Absolutely. It's lonely out there, which is what we want, but at the same time, our taxpayers go to these fire departments and such. So thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming in. We got about 5 minutes to the next agenda item. Anybody else care to speak?
Good morning. My name is Ginger Miller, Ginger Miller, Miller, and my address is 7348 County Road 46, Butler. I'm a local real estate agent, and I have grave concerns regarding the devaluation of homes in, around, and especially the properties closest to these proposed industrial solar fields. I'm requesting that the solar ordinance be reevaluated and revised before another solar company is able to submit their plans, in order to protect the futures and safety of our residents. So that's what I have.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Code 46.
Anyone else, real quick?
And just as a quick follow-up to that comment too,
Sure.
and I think that's a legitimate discussion
Right.
as far as property values. I'm reaching out to about 8 of the county assessors in counties that have solar currently to find out exactly what that situation is on the ground in real life. So hopefully I'll have that information by next week.
Okay. I would wonder, though, if that isn't a bit different. County assesses as compared to what the actual real estate value would be if you go to sell it. And I suspect there is some difference there.
State requires county assessments to track market value.
Is it Corbin?
Yeah, Colbin.
Corbin.
Yep, Colbin. Last time I was here, I was in Scrubs. I was still in high school. Talking about the same thing, though.
Right. Oh, you need a,
State your name and address.
sorry.
Colbin Sturry, 4594 State Road 1, Butler, Indiana. I am just up here talking because I feel like it's important for you guys to hear that people of my age bracket, I'm 20 years old, everyone around me, all of my friends, all of my neighbors that have been here my entire life are in the same mindset as me. Of course, obviously, besides people who have signed up their own land, they don't like it. They don't want it. These contracts can be up to 50 years. I'm going to be 70 years old, if that's enough to tell you guys that. It's going to be affecting my entire life. I'm sure that it affects you guys, but probably not as much as me. And then I would also like to talk on the wildlife, the runoff. He already talked on the runoff. This is what I had in my paper. That is a very important thing because, I live in a cubby pretty much. There's solar panels here, solar panels here, solar panels here. I live right here, and then I have a direct path to the road. One, if the barbed wire fences around these properties aren't set back to the solar panels, or at least enough to be able to hold their substations and stuff, we're gonna have solar panels or SDI fences around our entire property. I mean, I could throw a baseball to where these fences are gonna be if they're not set back to the same lengths. And that's kind of one of my most important things because in 10 years, my kids are going to be living up, and I want them to be able to look at the woods. I'd like them to be able to look at the deer, but that's not going to be a possibility if I'm just looking at these SDI fences. And the species around here, I'm a big hunter. I run a lot of trail cameras, and I have a lot of pictures of bald eagles, Indiana bats, these protected species that I would love to be able to see that you guys made strides to have the DNR come out and look and make strides to protect these species. And make sure that we are being environmentally friendly with these so-called green panels. And there's tons of hunting around this area, and I would like to see these hunters be able to continue their sport, which I love that you guys protected the woods in the first ordinance. That is a big stride that we hoped that you guys would make and did. Behind my house, they were planning on completely bulldozing 200, 300 acres of woods and neighboring, which is, I think, terrible. And to make it more personal, that's actually my father, which is the landowner. And that kind of highlights the divide that this is making in our county, that even that close in relation, that these panels are not a good thing, and that despite the relationship that we're going to make a fuss and that we're going to be able to make sure that we're heard and helped and protected. And that's all I have right now. I just say that I would like to see the ordinance reopened and maybe sought more after the people on that side of the county that are going to have to live around these for the next 50, 40, 30 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Okay, we are up to the next item on the agenda, and that is Rebecca. You are up and
Good morning.
morning. If you need more room, you could have a seat over here and make sure that mic's on and pulled up to you. Little green light. Green light.
Push on.
There you go. So you got.
Okay, so I'm Rebecca Calhoun. I'm the coordinator for Drug-Free DeKalb. And we're looking at the grant request for the dollars in the Drug-Free Communities Fund. The grant committee has reviewed these, as well as the coalition, and this is their recommendations. And we'll kind of go through what each are and briefly how those decisions were made. We ended up with requests for $93,586, which obviously we don't have dollars to fund that amount of money. So when we look through those, we're going to go through by category. So justice, we looked at the first one, which is DeKalb Community Corrections, and they were specifically looking for some dollars for some big books for the AA program in the jail, and they were looking for specifically then some drug testing dollars. They were requesting $5,600. When the review committee and the coalition looked through this, there was Serenity House offered to donate the AA supplies, so that was taken off of the books, and believed that we could fund for $2,500 of the testing supplies. The next one in that category is for Auburn Police Department's narcotics unit. And their request was for $5,000. This is money specifically for the undercover unit to buy products. It's finding those dollars is a little difficult sometimes because you can't track those. You don't get a receipt when you buy them. So this is one way that we're able to help fund that. In the committee and the coalition felt pretty strongly that we wanted to fund that for the full requested amount of $5,000. The next one in that category, and we're going to kind of put these three together because probation requested $5,000 for each of the family court, addiction treatment court, and veterans court. And we sat down with them and had some discussions as to where the previous money that we had funded for them had been utilized most and where it was most needed, and within those courts if we were not going to be able to fund everything, which we knew we could not do. And those discussions led to a recommendation that Veterans Court, primarily, the participants in Veterans Court all have income. So they're able to help self-fund their own panels. When we looked at the addiction courts and the family courts, there was a higher need for those individuals. So the recommendation is to fund both family court and addiction courts testing program for $2,200 apiece. Then the final one in that category is for DeKalb County. No, I skipped one, I'm sorry. The Monarch Foundation is a new entity that's kind of working with the courts. When we looked at their application and the applications actually from the DeKalb County Probation, there was a duplication there. So we felt like it was better to fund directly the two courts. And because we talked with them too, is it better to fund like one lump sum for them to divide out as they need it within the courts? And it's easier for them and how they have to do their budgeting to be able to specifically say what's for what. So the recommendation was to decline that Monarch Foundation request for the addiction courts. And then the last one that we decided under that category was DeKalb County Probation's. They have a small incentive program. We have funded this in the past. It's a very small amount for $600 that just helps to keep some, usually it's used for gas cards and stuff for folks to stay on track. So it's just a positive reinforcement. Which then led to a total for the justice category of $12,500. Are there any questions on that category and those?
Any questions, Mike or Todd? Comments?
Okay. So hearing no questions, I will move on to the next category, which is the prevention. So in prevention, DeKalb County Community Corrections Change Academy, they requested dollars for a vape detector and for a drug education program for McMillan Center. The vape detector is not something we can fund through these dollars. It's just not a fundable item. But we could fund the $500 for a McMillan Center's drug education program to come into the Change Academy. So that was the recommendation for funding on that category. And let's see, McMillan Center itself requested $12,000. We have another one on the next page for DeKalb County Central, which is another McMillan program as well. We had a lot of discussion on how to best do McMillan Center's programming, and since we had both the Change Academy and DeKalb Central requesting for specific programs, we decided to fund those two specific programs that are McMillan programs coming in. So one is for $2,500, the other $500 we just discussed, and that we would fund an additional $4,500 for McMillan to bring programs to the other schools in the county. So that we would still, McMillan has got a lot of great programming, but we felt like these two had specifically asked for these programs that they had analyzed and determined were best for their schools and their programs. So we wanted to fund those, and then we would do the $4,500 for McMillan Center. Then we had from Garrett Kaiser Butler, we had two requests. One request was for Tall Cop. This is the Tall Cop says stop. It is an actually internationally acclaimed program now. They have worked to be able to bring him to the community. We discussed this again at length. They requested $5,600. What we feel comfortable funding out of that was $3,714. And if you combine that with the random drug screens of the $1,286 we're funding for them, for the high school, or for the Garrett Kaiser Butler, that gives a total of $5,000 for Garrett Kaiser Butler, which is our maximum that we want to do per entity. And when we look at that, we really discussed how else they could fund the remaining balance, because we really think it's important to bring him here, and felt like we could work with United Way and the Community Foundation. Both have said that they would be willing to review this grant to try to fund the rest of it. So very comfortable that the rest of it will be funded. And the extracurricular drug testing program, this is the $1,286. What's nice about this is what we have found with these random drug testing programs, the way they're set up with the schools, is if you are involved in any extracurricular activities, if you have a parking pass, anything that isn't just, you're just a student, but you're involved in some way, and the parking pass counts, then you go into that pool. What it does for a lot of students is allow them an out. So if they're at a party and somebody is offering them something and they're on the football team or they're on show choir, it allows them that out to say, you know what, I can't take a chance. If I get pulled and coach will kill me or director's going to kill me, I can't take that chance. So it really does. It really acts as a deterrent for a lot of these kids. And just like I said, it's an out. The goal isn't really to find how many kids we can catch. It's really how can we help the kids have a way to utilize this as a deterrent, as a way to say, nope, I'm not going to take that chance. So that was what we decided on that one. Again, we had another one from Monarch Foundation. This one was for prevention program. As we reviewed it, they were requesting $10,000. Really felt like this proposal was very broad. We were very unsure what they really were going to use the dollars for. It just didn't seem like they had it well put together yet. So the recommendation was not to fund that application. Questions on the prevention category?
Any questions or comments? Just sailing along.
Just sailing along. I wish I could say it was this quick and easy when we were going through the conversations before. And it shouldn't have been quick and easy. I mean, we have a lot of need, so we want to make sure we're using dollars effectively. Mm-hmm. So the next category is treatment. And when we looked at this, they are all basically for the same thing. It's for materials and assessment and recovery services at the facilities. So we had a request for $4,000 from Heart House. We had a request for $5,000 from Hope for Her. And we had a request for $5,000 from Inspiration Ministries. We looked at each of those, and then we looked at the request from the Monarch Foundation in this category. And in this category, again, they're looking for the same kind of things for assessment and housing and all those kind of pieces. And what the committee decided to do is they wanted to break up the dollars that we had available equally, that would allow Heart and House, Hope for Her, and Inspiration, that had each submitted an application to receive funding. But because the Monarch Foundation would be able to look at any of the housing available in any of those programs to allow them to be able to utilize those dollars as well. So instead of just putting all the dollars to Monarch and here you feed it out, the ones that had actually applied, we wanted to let them access what they had requested, or a portion of that request. And then Monarch is brand new to our table. They actually aren't even at the table yet. Part of the requirement if you get funding is you come to the table and you become an active part of the coalition and finding the solutions. So we decided we'd fund them at this point and see where it goes. And if they become a really good active partner and we see that they're effective, that might be a different scenario next time around. But for now, the proposal is to fund each of them at $3,125 for a total of $12,500 for the category.
Okay.
The appreciate your consideration of Monarch, that they are new. I sit on that board.
Do you? Good.
And I think that working closely with the addiction court, I think we'll be able to do a lot of good things. New kids on the block.
New kids on the block.
I don't know if you haven't had an opportunity to kind of do a postmortem on the grant request with them, but I think that would be helpful for the next go-around if you're willing to do that.
I would absolutely be willing to do that. Once I get approval from you guys, I will go out, I will get their letters out to folks, and then there will be an opportunity, if they want to discuss further, I would be happy to meet with them and talk about how the dollars are done. You know, we've talked internally here with you guys about the money that's sitting there and how it's going to branch out. We've done a 5-year branch out of how those dollars are going to be, and that has us looking at for 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, that we're going to be giving out probably around $37.5 a year, depending on what is, of course, brought in. And that's presuming that the expected income is right around $39,000 a year. So as long as we're able to maintain that, we'll utilize that dollars that are sitting there that we need to get back out in the community that have, as you guys know, have been sitting there for a little while, but not extending it all in 1 year. That's their proposed plan. That's their 5-year plan.
Okay. Is there a deadline here on when you need to have this okayed?
That is up to you. Once I hear from you guys that everything is approved on here, like I said, I'll send the letters out. Then we'll get the invoices too, and they have to sign the contracts, and then you have to sign the contract.
I assume Todd does not have his paperwork. So Todd, I'll ask you, are you clear on this, or would you like to have another week to get the paperwork and then make a decision on this?
No, I'm pretty well versed in what she's.
Okay.
Yeah. Every one of these organizations does great work in the community, so I would move that we approve the grant program from Drug Free DeKalb.
Do you have a second? A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you,
There you go,
gentlemen.
Rebecca.
Anything to sign? Anything to sign?
Not yet, because those have to go to,
Okay.
they have to be both signed. And if it's okay with you, I will send that in with the invoice, and you can just have them sign it. I don't necessarily need to be here for you to sign those.
That'd be
Already
fine.
approved them.
That'd be fine. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Sandy. Yes, we're right on the clock.
Good morning, Sandy.
Yeah, pull that mic up. There you go. The old guy can hear.
Yeah, it helps. So,
The deaf guy.
well, I wouldn't go that far. So, I came before you guys earlier this year we knew that Star Bank was going to end our online payment system. We had 3 choices at that point, and we evaluated them, and we picked Pay Local Gov for a couple of reasons. They said they could do everything that we wanted and needed them to do, and they also are currently doing our bank escrows, collecting for that. So we thought we would combine the two and just work with one service. We worked with them extensively, put a lot of time in the process. They gave us a test site. We brought it up. But when it came down to it, the one thing we needed them to do was to accommodate our spring-fall payment options for our taxpayers. And the best they could do was, instead of it being automatic, the taxpayer would have to go out there every year and approve that they wanted that service for that year. Well, that was a deal killer. I mean, it's not what we wanted, and that was one of the main things. Our monthly payments, they were going to have to, once a year, do the same thing. When the tax bills went out, they'd have to go out, log in, and reaffirmed that they wanted the service. That along with a couple other things. Getting partial payment receipts was going to be an issue, and the other thing they had told us they'd be able to do if a property, currently the system, the online payment system operates outside of our software with LAO. So if you sign up, it's self-managed. If you sell your property, you need to go out to that system and log off. Well, people think because they went to a closing, the property transferred, even in the transfer office, they think their payments have stopped. That's not always the case. So the other thing, it was a must-have, was when they received a download from us nightly, it would trigger an email to that person to remind them to go out and stop. Well, when we got to the rollout in our test site, those two criteria were not met. They said they couldn't do it other than they'd have to log on. So that and some other things that just I wasn't willing to settle for. We owe our taxpayers a better system, a better process. We're going to be charging for it, and so we need to be able to provide a service. So, you guys don't have my sheets. Sorry. So we went back and we looked at, okay, our second choice was Invoice Cloud. And we didn't go with them for a couple of reasons. Mainly, they really didn't have a product that was fully approved, fully developed. But we knew our other vendor didn't either. And it charged a fee. The fee was $100 a month, and the other one didn't have a fee because they were doing our mortgage closing, or mortgage escrows. And then there were some other things that, it was actually a fairly long list of cons that we thought, okay, we knew it was the Cadillac version of what we wanted. We didn't necessarily need all the bells and whistles. So when we looked at them, I went back to the table. The $100 a month, it's not ideal. I was able to negotiate with them to get that fee down to $75 a month. So annual, that's about $900 a year. I looked at our Star, what we paid for Star, and our cost last year was $1,800, and we would have been on target probably to be somewhere around $2,000. So it's still cheaper than what we had previously. They gave us the same dollar per transaction. That was what we currently was going to use. There's a $10 NSF fee or credit card fee, which is kind of standard, but the reason Star couldn't move forward is in the banking industry, they had to have, by the end of this year, the technology is that if you put in a bank account, there's a database out there that bounces it off to make sure it's a valid bank account and that it's your bank account. Star wasn't going to invest those kind of funds with our process. Both of these systems, Invoice Cloud already has that developed. We were able to go out, Allen County went with Invoice Cloud. We were able to go out, play with it, do everything that, we tried to break the system on their end, did a lot of testing. We like the product. It is a good fit, I think. So I'm coming to you today to ask for your signature to move forward with a contract. In your packet, there's the letter that I sent to Catalyst, which is the company that we signed a 3-year contract with. Bill, you signed that. Mm-hmm. This gets us out of the contract. I have confirmation that they've received this and that they are letting us out of the contract so that there's nothing, we're not on the hook for any financial costs. We never rolled the product out. Like I said, we've put a lot of time into it, but it just wasn't what what they sold us wasn't what we were getting, and I'm not willing to settle. So, you know, I'd like for you to sign this contract. Jim, I sent that contract to you 10 days ago or whatever. I know you were in the middle of vacation at the time.
It was a work vacation and it was no fun
Okay.
to be caught in a hurricane and evacuated. But
yes.
other than that, I did get through it. I think, number one, I don't have any issues with any of the legal terms and stuff, which is the most important part from my perspective. I have confidence that Sandy investigated it to death,
Absolutely.
which she does everything else she brings before you, and I'm fine with it, as long as you realize, you know, there's some deadlines there if you want to go back, but they're generous, 60 days here, and if something changes about it, or you have to turn it around, so I'm fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, the nice thing about Allen County having rolled it out, we were able, like I said, to test it, but then there were a few things that was like, oh, this isn't real smooth. So before we roll it out, we want those fixes, those enhancements to it, and they're willing to, you know, to make those changes. So that's the nice part.
Always good to have our neighbors be the guinea pigs.
Yeah, heck yeah, they're much bigger, so they got a little more clout,
That's
so.
right.
So, yes.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the invoice cloud contract for our tax payments.
I will second that motion. I got in front of me, so.
That's the original,
Get-
that, I
get
need
you off the
Bill's
hook.
signature.
You can talk better than me anyway right now.
Sounds that way.
That's the original, there's a spot in there that I need your signature on, so.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose the same. Motion carries.
Okay. You guys have anything else for me? Any questions or not about this or my office or anything while I'm here?
Anything?
Pretty successful tax sale.
We did have a good tax sale, yes. Yeah, it was nice. We didn't have all those parcels in Butler to deal with, so it went a lot faster
Good
On
job.
the tax sale.
on the tax sale, yeah.
Anything selling Corona? I didn't catch. It was the old,
I don't know what was on there.
that one there on, was it Bridge Street by the old tavern?
Okay.
The old
I
tavern.
couldn't tell you, I'd have to look. I know we sold, like I said, 26 properties, and, you know, most of those were residents, so not too many vacant parcels, so, yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Sandy.
you're welcome, thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Have a good day, Sandy.
I know you guys too.
Okay, we've got 20 minutes till break and pledge. Anyone else? Mike, you got anything? You got something? Special accounts payable. Look out.
Throwing a wrench in
It's
the things.
fine.
Mike?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the accounts payable claim for $2,753.50. Probably should sign it, assuming we're going to approve it.
And a second?
God hasn't.
I'm gonna abstain since I'm not looking at it. but if you
Right.
wanna second it.
Did you hear the amount, Todd?
Yeah, could you repeat it, please?
$2,753.50. And that, what was that vendor?
Susan gave it to me.
It's on the back side of of the blue.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Check register. Vendor name Courtyard Indianapolis. This is for travel? I assume?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Looks like just a bunch of miscellaneous cleanup stuff, it looks like.
There's a Fort Harrison State Park Inn, $574.46. I don't recall. What that was.
That has to be travel of some sort.
Yeah, I don't recall that particular destination. Any travel we approved. Did she come?
Where's it located, Bill?
Well, there's one of the items on this is the Fort Harrison State Park Inn, $574.46.
What city is that? Do you know? Is that?
With
Leanne's
Fort
coming.
Harrison, that sounds like where northeast of Indianapolis, where actually the fort, the military installation was. And then they left there, and I'm guessing that's what it is, but I don't know. I've not seen it.
Those were the special claims that you approved last week. Oh, the cat,
So it's a courtyard at Fort Harrison?
What's the Fort Harrison?
Oh, okay.
These are for. A little mixture.
All righty.
That's it, thank you.
And I will second Mike's motion. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Same, motion carries. I don't recall having one of these before like this.
New paperwork.
Must have just had to
Leanne's an autograph collector.
Is that it?
There you go.
Okay, miscellaneous topics. Anyone, anything else?
You guys look at the jail report? 38 are in the sheriff. Doing it?
No, that's an addition.
No?
Yeah, you had the two together. Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. It was down, I think we had an 86 last week sometime or something like that.
Yeah, it was down a little bit. Looks like it jumped back up.
We had the fair, that always adds.
Carry over from the,
A lot of activity at community corrections there. That census out there has really picked up.
you say the census?
Well, the number of
Oh.
people that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And actually down a little bit. It was 42.
Yeah, they were up over 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's a long way from 14.
A long ways. Okay, anything else, anyone? Anything, Todd?
Nothing here, thank you.
Okay, we got about 14 minutes to break. Are there any other comments from the participants in the audience? Okay. Yes, right?
The Plan Commission is the start. The Plan Commission has hearings and they review things and they then make a conclusion and make a recommendation to the commissioners. But it has to start with the Plan Commission, and that's the Department of Developmental Services, which is on Union Street.
Development.
Huh?
Development, not developmental.
Oh, development.
Chris
Excuse
gets
me.
mad.
Picky.
Chris gets mad at us if we say it.
Okay.
On the corner of Union and 9th Street. Okay,
Hey, Bill,
yes, Todd?
can still talk?
Absolutely,
I would be happy to hear your comments, sir.
right.
Okay, for one, I think commercial solar makes no sense as far as produce energy through nuclear, through natural gas, whatever. However, I don't think that's really our opinion on what we think is good as far as business models shouldn't enter the equation. The government does a lot through their actions. However, all land is subject to thing I would like to look at, gentleman was talking about for him there. Years ago, we spent, after we got done building, the acres behind us, was gonna put a trailer park. Trailers. Worst things that can happen, one would be a confined feeding operation. Then you could put a pig farm in. I live next to one of them. That's, you talk about your property value, zero. With a pig trailer park, infill, we all use. As far as insurance, the one gentleman. Woods. Third aspect I'd like to talk about, owner in a property. What if you want to put solar on your house? Do that, well. So
15.
technically, your neighbor could, what is it?
15.
15? Okay, so they could line up solar panels facing your house off their property do about it. So just like people to think of those facts on how we've really done some really big stuff. Again, I'm not a fan of business. I think we really need to think about
Thank you, Todd. Any comments to Todd's comments?
Well, I'm absolutely in agreement on the property rights situation, and I think this whole issue, I think Todd summed it up real well. I mean, we're not passing judgment on solar. Solar is a legitimate business. There are hundreds of solar fields all over the state of Indiana. I've had an opportunity to talk with a lot of the commissioners and so forth in the counties that have solar. These horror stories that, I mean, just haven't happened. Most of the fire situations have been out west in solar fields, and those have been a result of wildfires causing the grass fire and the solar. And solar panels don't burn. There is a practical solar use history in the state of Indiana. As Todd said, it's a legitimate business, and the economic impact to the county, I think, is going to be substantial as well. I would suspect that Pat Hensiker and some of the folks that are having some real road issues would be real happy to that the county would have some financial resources from the economic development payments to do something with the roads. Now, I'm not, I'm glad to hear any comments that anybody has to make. I think we need to do that, and there may be a tweak or two somewhere that we might want to look at. I haven't heard anything new as far as information goes than what we heard a year ago when we did this ordinance. It's basically the same information. So, but again, I think this is a property rights issue, and I would be very hesitant to tell somebody that they can't realize the best value from their land for a legitimate purpose.
I understand that. One of the problems I have is the amount of money they're offering the farmers. It's bait. It's a bait and hook. You bait them, and then you hook everybody into this concept with the big money, and then they come back and want a abatement. And I don't quite get that. But anyway, one thing, one information part we didn't have, I don't believe, when we did consider the setbacks. So there is a county not too far away has considerably higher setbacks. Adams County. I don't recall discussing that county, but I talked to the Plan Commission president down there, and he said it's quite a bit higher. Whether that's something we want to consider or not, but kind of up to Chris, and go from there with that.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
One thing to maybe think about, I know, if we're all honest with each other, as a property owner, you just don't want to look at these solar fields. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to look at them either. I definitely wouldn't want to look at a wind farm, and we pretty much eliminated those. But maybe better than more setbacks is better screening so people don't have to see these things. That's the real issue, is people just don't want to look at this. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to. If we do open this back up, screening is,
The only issue I would have with screening, to be quite honestly, though, and depends kind of on the topography of the property. You've got a property out there, and as is now, you can look out, you can see the woods, the forest, the trees, the farms, the deer out here in the field on the farm. Put a screening up there, are you going to be able to see that? I mean, you're still surrounded. It's not a solar panel, maybe not a fence, but you're still, it's blocking off your visual.
But when you buy property anywhere in the county or in the city or anyplace else, you don't buy the view. You buy to the property line. That view is never guaranteed.
Come up to the,
There's tons of case law to support that. You don't buy the view anywhere past your property line. Well, they can't put a fence 10 feet off of your property line.
Can you come to the microphone,
Yeah.
please?
So
Thank
in
you.
the ordinance, Colvin Story,
Okay.
in the ordinance, does it say that the fences are backed up the 400 feet?
The fence has to be on their property. It can't be, so at a minimum, it has to be 30 foot.
So 30 feet, sorry, so not
at a
10 feet.
minimum. And generally, it would be behind the barrier anyway. None of, anything that I have seen or heard from any of the solar companies, there is no discussion or nothing in their plans about barbed wire. They're all farm type,
Picket fence.
not picket, but
wood,
post wood, yeah.
yeah,
Well,
wood
they
post.
were,
rail fence would
we
be.
were told by these companies to us, like, because I've been in meetings with both my dad and the solar companies, and then my mom, her parents were approached by solar, and I was in those meetings as well, and I was able to listen to their representatives, and they're saying that their selling point, they said, was that they were going to give us different colored fences based on what we wanted. This was going to be our eye appeal, or whatever they like to say it is. They said that we can choose our type of fence, and we were just like, can we choose a picket fence, like a wooden fence, to kind of better fit like our setting? And they said, no, you have to choose between what chain link fence you want. So it is going to be a chain link fence. I don't think it's any bit economic, like financially, like possible for them to put a wooden fence, like you were just explaining, a privacy fence around the entire properties, because these are big pieces of land. Like, we've totaled up, we've talked to farmers. I mean, this is over 5,000 acres on this side of the county. Like, we have the maps, we have everything of these different property owners that have told us where these properties that they've signed up, and it is massive amounts of land. And us, along with, I would say, 12 to 13 that we know of that have just found out in the last month about these things, are in the process of, or are selling their houses because they don't want to be caught in this trap, because they are completely surrounded. And we aren't saying no to solar. I think solar panels are a great thing. I have a cousin that has a Tesla. We have electric vehicles. I am infatuated by Tesla. Actually, I love the electric stuff, the new stuff. But I think we really need to dive into whether.
Yeah, we have to take a break. They're waiting on us to do the pledge. Yeah, let's cut off.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, hold that thought.
Your turn, Todd.
okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Okay, let's go.
Give them a little bit.
Oh,
Mental.
And he can yell at me too.
And he's like,
My meeting with him in bed is that.
It depends on, it depends if they open the discussion up. She can say more. I said it depends if,
Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking to me. They're the commissioners. We're the worker bees.
well, if they open discussion, I think it depends on, because we have an appointment at 10:15. So, yeah. Ooh, what?
Order.
Andy? Yeah. What's he gonna do? Something.
He said it. I listened and then I promptly forgot.
You sound like me.
But he's done a pretty good job.
He really has.
His stories have always been
Yeah, I
very
know.
accurate.
That's too bad. Aw.
Static in here. Zap.
Uh-oh.
Okay. You there, Todd?
He just stepped away.
Did he? Step away, did he pass out?
I don't know. Well, he's got me thinking about getting a booster shot now, because I don't think he's had any of them, has he?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking the other day about
Both of
getting
these?
a booster just for the heck of it.
Okay.
I took the first booster back some time ago, but then you're supposed to take a second one, and I haven't done it yet.
And got my flu shot the other day when the health department was doing them.
I don't know if I can get one yet or not, because I just had the pneumonia shot was more important to me
Yeah,
than the flu shot, and I think there's some period of time between them that you're supposed to have, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I don't know.
Man, he does look bad, don't he?
Yeah.
There it is.
How you doing, Todd?
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Ben.
Sorry. Well, Bill just told me he's got a bad case of COVID. I'm sorry to hear that.
Pretty sure it is.
Really?
Are you home or still in Florida? They get your boat back in the water?
Get, if I get into a coughing fit.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Don't be coughing on us now. Don't be coughing on us.
I mute my mic when I cough. That way I don't get sick.
Nice. Ready, start.
Yeah, I hope you get feeling better soon, Todd.
Yeah, crank it up. Okay,
Good.
we're on the clock. What you got, Ben?
Good morning, guys. Well, I got first thing, in case you guys would like to call Ron Francis with BF&S, the discussion about the property on County Road 56. you guys wanted to table till Todd was available, and Ron Francis is based out of Indy and between there and Lafayette, but I do have him available this morning for a call-in if you guys would like to call and discuss anything with him on this property. You guys' discretion if you think you got any questions for him or like to hear what his recommendations are. I mean, his recommendations was kind of to go with this, but if you'd like to speak with him, he's available.
Todd, are you up to speed? Yeah, Todd, are you up to speed on that?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah, sure. You want to have Ron Francis on the phone?
Be a bad idea. I mean, we have time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got time.
I think it'd be a good idea to get his perspective, and I think Ben said that he's been through this a few times before, and he's pretty good discernment on what to do on these type of issues, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've talked to him a number of times as well, Todd, and yeah, I value his opinion, not that you're going to follow it necessarily. That's for the three of you. But I think he's very knowledgeable and has had experience in handling these things a number of occasions. And most people that don't settle end up wishing they had.
Well, and that's the thing, I think what's the settlement number again?
Well, they dropped their request by 10,000, so
$40,000, $55 is.
That was the original?
the original was 40,000 and they're asking for 55, 54.
65, let's see, Howard Family's trying to reduce. Total award is 65. Yeah, total award is 65,000 now.
Yeah, 65.
Is that what BF&S is suggesting?
Yeah, they're
No,
suggesting.
that's, well, yeah, he's.
Yeah, they suggested that that was a fair settlement, that the property owner had pretty much made his case for that amount.
And is that down from 75? That is down from 75 that he had wanted, proposed.
I was thinking he wanted 100 or 125. Taken in that thinking.
No, I don't think it was that
No.
high.
No, because his
No.
original offer,
Okay.
our offer was like 40,000, then he wanted 75.
Yeah.
Maybe the total value of his house was 125, not including the land. I can't remember.
Yeah, that might have been, yeah.
I think so, which seems awful low, but.
I'd like to settle this and get it done. It is a ways away. We could sit on it and wait, but when this thing does get
Yeah.
rolling, I'd really like to complete
And he has,
the project. I hate litigation.
And this is the only unresolved one for the County Road 56 project.
Everything else is done.
If we try to go, if we let it go and then end up going to eminent domain, we're gonna end up probably spending more anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Mike.
The only thing you could do, Todd, is we could make another counter, other than just rejecting this one. If that's the route you wanted to go.
Well, what is it that you guys think is fair between Mike, Bill, me? Bill, you know. What do you think a fair settlement is for this?
You know, this is so different though from what I'm
Yeah.
ever dealt with, accustomed to. I'm a little bit inclined to go ahead and close this out since he did come down off the 75.
I would agree, I mean, if we go back and forth 2 or 3 more rounds and,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just messing with it I think we're close enough, let's just settle it and be done with it.
Has he agreed to the 65 then?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was,
I would
he
probably-
lowered it.
Okay, I would probably just go for that and get it done. We're talking about what now?
Yeah.
Like another 10 grand, you know, if this gets held up in litigation or problems and just the amount of money compared to the total project.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get it behind us.
I'll entertain a motion.
I will,
I'd make a,
go ahead.
Mike.
No, go ahead, Todd, your turn.
I'd make a motion, I'd go ahead and make a motion to settle. The amount been 65,000?
Yes. And the original offer, the BF&S's original offer was $40,055. And he come back originally at wanted 75, and now he's down to 65.
Make a motion that we settle for 65 to complete this.
What's the property owner's name?
It's Howard. Just to Howard's property. I don't have his first and last name.
Okay. I'll
Would be-
second that motion, noting that it is a settlement on the Howard property.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Now that you've made the decision, I can tell you, I think if you didn't settle, you'd have ended up paying more by the time you talk about the cost of litigation. You'd end up going through mediation. You'd have, and the few that I've seen that the county's been involved in where they didn't settle, they ended up paying more by the time they finished mediation, and that didn't even go to trial.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. What else you got, Ben?
Thank you, sir. Is that one you talked about last week? Okay.
Hey, Ben, is this the one that he had a dispute with his mother-in-law or something?
No, this one's different. This is Todd Land,
This
town 51.
Down by the pond. Yeah.
He went-
Little deja vu here.
Yeah. He went through A&Z Engineering and contacted them as far as getting a driveway permit or getting his driveway established on the property. Let me rephrase that. He's got a driveway permit that was issued back 9/19 of 2011 for this location shown on the first, I think it should be your first, no, it'll be the second page. It's got the dimension, the first page, I'm sorry. So the first page has got that on here. Basically, he's going to go down to the location per the permit that was given to him on 9 of 2011. He's going to cut back the bank, fill his pond, and accordingly to get the bankment back to come up to run the drive in parallel to the pond, loop back up and around in his property.
Second page is the fill.
The second page is the fill, yes.
Yeah.
According to his drawing, it's going to be out of our right of way.
Yeah.
Right. No, he was showing it, it's going to be the front edge of his driveway to the edge of pavement now will be 40 foot. According to this drawing. And then I did verify on here as well, he's got that driveway 20 feet from the north property line to the center, and then 309 to the south. So if you look out in the pond, you'll see that arrow where it says 20 up towards the north and then 309, that line going towards the center. He stuck it out in the pond area there. You'll see the footage if you're looking for that. So I mean, this meets the driveway permit that he was given from my predecessor. And the driveway is going to be on his property, out of the road right away with the entrance per what he was permitted. And supposedly they've got, this was sent to Mike Klein as well. And from what I can gather from A and Z, Mike's okay with him filling that pond in accordingly to get the drive. So on this email, it was sent to Mike Klein as well, but I have not spoke to Mike. I have not heard any response back from him. I've only spoke with, I don't even know how you say his name, I don't know, can't even say his name, from A&Z Engineering. R-A-F-I-K, Rafkin? I don't know how you say it. But since this has been kind of disputed back and forth, I wanted to bring it to you guys and make sure everybody was on board with this permit before I give him a permission to proceed. It does meet the permit requirements from 2011, and he's keeping it on his property from what I can see, and he's going to fill his pond accordingly to accommodate his drive. The only concern I can see is that it's really nothing I can say at this point, is if he's going to try to drive tractors and trailers in out of there, may still cause a potential issue unless he's looking at this maybe to sell or something. I don't know, but I can't really leverage that at this point, what he's going to drive in and out of there. I just know that was his discussion when he was here.
Still a pretty tight turn radius.
Right.
Yeah.
But he may, you're correct, he may well be thinking about selling the property, and you gotta have a drive to establish to sell it. I have to stop at the surveyor's office to sign some drainage board stuff after the meeting, so I can, Mike's out of town for a couple of weeks,
Right.
but,
Okay.
I can ask Michelle if Mike signed off on this.
Okay.
He does have 40 foot on the inside of that turn, that radius, which isn't, I mean, normally that wouldn't be a problem unless you got a really long rig trying to go in and out of there.
Well, if he's just hauling lowboys and flatbeds, they're not gonna be 53 footers anyways.
Yeah, yeah. And like I say, that was inside the radius.
Yeah.
It actually got a little bit more than that, the width of his driveway, possibly somewhat.
It's nice to have the drawing, because now, I mean, this is what they're proposing to get his driveway, so I mean, you've got something to hold accountable to.
You're okay with site distances and,
No,
no?
No, it's not quite.
it's
But-
short.
It's short, yeah.
Yep, it's short. That's what I said before, I would have never permitted this lot,
Yeah.
but he had a permit. And, so,
While it's short, it was still approved back then, even though it shouldn't have been. Invested a substantial amount originally permitted.
right,
But I think it would be unfair not to give him. He's done what we asked him to do the first time.
right.
This could have been resolved a long time ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I agree. I think we gotta give him some relief on, being able to use his property. Absolutely.
That was our original discussion, if he could get his drive at this location,
Yeah.
whether he filled the pond and went straight in, or if he come back and was able to accommodate the drives like he has on this drawing. Todd, I don't know if you wanted to see this, if I could show this up there, if you could see it or not, through the camera there or not, but.
yeah, let me just glance at it real quick, but I got
Not
a
up there on the
visual
TV.
image of what it looks like.
See that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it moved on you. Move it to the right. Other way. There. Yeah, okay.
So that's.
You're good.
That's what he was proposing.
Good with that.
Do we need Mike's okay on this? surveyors.
You know, you guys can make a motion that we approve this with contingent of approval from the surveyor.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. Yeah, I'll move to approve the driveway permit contingent on the approval from the surveyor's office.
Have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
So I'll check on that right after, I'm just going straight over there from here.
Okay.
And if there's some kind of an issue, I'll text you, but otherwise,
If you would, just, if you don't mind, let me know
yeah, either way.
either way.
Yeah.
That
Right.
Sure.
way I know which direction to go with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Next, I have a overweight vehicle request for Edwards Tree Service and Land Clearing. They are proposing coming up Interstate I-69, the County Road 427, 427 south to County Road 60, County Road 60 east to the DeKalb County Airport field entrance. They're going to do the woods clearing down there for the new airport project, and they wanted to move last week. Of course, then they sent me permits last minute, and then want to be able to move. I did send this out to USI to evaluate the bridge. We have, I think it's Bridge 25, I believe, on 427 there over Cedar Creek. I went through and looked at our EV loads that we have, USI has done, but your axles and the loads are different. I personally think the bridge is fine, but when you get overweights like this, a lot of times there's a contingent on there, like they'll have to have an escort, so forth. They can drive on the bridge at one time. Because you know what can happen, they take this load over the bridge, if there's a semi coming the other way, it's slim, it can happen, but if they both are on that bridge at the same time, it can be overloaded.
Yeah.
And then also if they're going 50 or 55 mile an hour, it can hit that bridge with a shock load. So just to keep us safe, I requested that USI analyze it, and Edwards is paying for that. There might be, I'm expecting some type of stipulation as far as speed on the bridge or have some traffic control for the trucks on there at once. I should have that back today, but if I receive approval from USI, I don't see no issues with this permit. Moving forward, if you guys are okay with that as well. So.
Yeah. I'd recommend approving it on contingent, otherwise they're going to be held up for another week, that move, right? So, yeah. I think we can go with that. We think the bridge is okay.
Yeah.
But to begin with, it was built to higher specs than,
Right.
because it's state road at one time. But we just make sure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the overweight permit contingent on the USI report on the bridge.
I'll second that. Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
And then Carla, I can get you a scanned copy of this. Once USI's report's done, then I'll put that in this permit.
Thank you.
And then just information for you, I have 2 of our dump trucks out for bid right now on govdeals.com. So I'm kind of surprised I did a 14-day auction. I looked this morning, the one's at 78.77, and then the other one's at 67.16 this morning.
Are you kidding me?
No, so. So considering that we was only gonna get, I think about $1,500 or $2,000 trade for each one, we're up to about $14,000 for both of them, and we still got time to go. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but it's online. If anybody's interested, it's there till October 28th. I think at 1:52 PM, the auction ends.
Uh-huh. Wow. How about the broom? Is that on?
I did not put that on there yet.
Didn't you?
No, I wanted to kind of get my feet wet with these before I got real aggressive in it. But I want to put that on there, then I got that box sander that's going to go on there.
Okay.
So I didn't know where it went because for the first couple of days, it was only $5 and $10 bids. And I was like, wow, this could be. And then all of a sudden, it really took off. So then the last thing I got for you guys, just kind of an FYI, at this point, I'm not sure which direction it's going to go. I've been in contact with NIPSCO for the Highway Department's new facility there on US 6 for the natural gas service. That's kind of been mine. I got appointed to head that up for the new project there. We met back, I believe, in July with NIPSCO back there. I met with a guy named Dylan Dyer. He was the area engineer for this area that would come out, meet with us, see our needs, see what type of gas we needed, measure it, and then send us a proposal for a cost of whatever that would be to run natural gas to that facility. So that was done, and then I had a phone call from a Milan Akramovic, ACAMOVIC. He's the senior business specialist. And he went over the quote with me, which was an estimate that was back on August 2nd of this year. It was to install approximately 1,600 feet of 2-inch plastic gas main to the commercial building, site to be determined. Total cost was $45,958, okay? They give us a marginal cost of 52% discount of $23,898.16, and then a commercial credit of $22,495.17, left a total for us to pay of $1,402.99, okay? So we sat on that for a little bit. I did receive a call then around the second week of September from Milan that told me that if we wanted to proceed with this, I needed to get on board because he said once this quote's no good, the costs are going to go up substantially. So I got with Bill, and Bill signed this on 9/21 of 2022, and I emailed this back to Milan and told him the commissioners want to proceed. On here, it says, please note this is only an estimate and not an invoice. Estimate will be valid for 90 days. To proceed, an executed contract and/or payment must be received by NIPSCO. It says for more details, go to this website. So in my response back, I told them that we want to proceed. Please send me the copy of the contract. And then I will also need an invoice for the $1,402.99 for the auditor because the State Board of Accounts does not let us pay off of an estimate. He copied my email and sent to another person, and then it's set. I didn't hear nothing back. A week ago, I sent a follow-up email. I said, I haven't heard anything on the contract or an invoice. Where are we at with this status? I got a call from a guy, and I believe his name was Bob, and told me that this cost was not going to be valid anymore. And I said, oh, why is that? And he said, well, that Dylan Dyer no longer works for NIPSCO. He was terminated for not calculating the estimates correctly. So he says, your estimate's going to go up. And I said, well, what do you mean it's going to go up? He said, well, it's going to go up probably 4 or 5%. I kind of argued with him a little bit because I said, this says the estimate will be valid for 90 days. We're within our 90 days. Well, Milan was to get with me with the final updated cost. So I said, that was fine. I figured, if it goes up $1,000 or whatever, we'd be fine. Milan called me last week. We talked quite extensively on the phone and went back and forth quite a little bit. He says the estimate was not done correctly because they did not figure for the environmentals and things to bore underneath the creek. He did not figure up the correct footage. He says it's actually 2,025 feet, not 1,600. And he went ahead and give us the discounts. He didn't go over the total numbers with me, but he said he gave us the marginal count, the commercial credit discounts, But now they are seeking a cost of $55,245 to hook to natural gas. I argued that with him because this was an internal error. It wasn't no error on no one else.
Right.
This is what was proposed to us. We're within the 90 days.
Stand by
He
it.
said it's still an estimate. I said, well, it's not an invoice. I said, I understand that, but we built the new highway accordingly to your cost for natural gas. Otherwise, we may have went a different route. This went back and forth quite a little bit. Obviously, we didn't get anywhere. He was going to follow up with some of his powers to be and said, well, there's nothing else he can do. And I said, well, then I said, I'm requesting that you send me the current estimate or invoice, whatever we got to have to proceed. And I'm going to take it to the commissioners and county attorney. And I said, I won't be surprised if they'd want to do litigation over it. I said, that's their decision. So as of this day, I have not gotten an updated cost. They're supposed to send me one. I have not. So I don't know where this is at, but I thought it was apparent that I let you guys know that what we're potentially maybe looking at and what I was informed.
So our share ends up being what, according to him?
Our share originally was $1,402.99.
Yeah.
Now he is telling me $55,245 will be our cost.
That would be a substantial increase.
That is a substantial increase. Yes.
Well, it's a good thing we're paying a county attorney.
I've had employees make mistakes before. But I do the deal. Own up and give us our original estimate. The fact that they had to fire someone because they measured wrong isn't our problem.
I think we're probably in agreement on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if one of your staff people blows an estimate, you stand by your people. You know, I can understand why they fired him, but that's not our problem.
Why would we pay for his mistake when,
Yeah, well, exactly.
yeah, and
But we have not gotten an updated thing that says, here's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'll send him another email today because I spoke with him, I think it was last Wednesday, I think. Is that when I called you, Bill?
I believe, yeah.
And
that's bothersome that they haven't come back with the official estimate in writing, you know, and it's like, you know, what's
tell you,
going on?
Dealing with utilities will just
Especially this
drive
one.
you bat crap crazy. You know, we went round and round with I&M on the City of Auburn electric contract for years. Still haven't.
Jim, comments?
The estimate language on it is troubling, but the actions that took place afterwards, I would hope would be enough to get a court to say, no, you've got to honor the original thing. Can I promise it? No. I wish that estimate language weren't on the thing we got. But still, you had discussions with this Milan following. You needed an invoice for the State Board of Accounts. They would be familiar with that. I think you've got a shot. I'm not going to guarantee, but if I were sitting as the judge, I'd be receptive to the argument that the county's going to make.
That's encouraging. Short of the Burt Blee guarantee, but
No guarantees. The first case I had in contract law about 55 years ago was, they called it the hairy hand case. Some guy went in for surgery to get rid of all the hair. It didn't work. And the court said, you know, healthcare professionals don't give guarantees. You're out of luck.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's the steps to take. Email them back. And,
yeah, if we can get the official
yeah.
paperwork, then I think you
And then Ben and I will get together and
Yeah.
get all the facts and the exact dates and everything, and
I
Write a
sent
bit of a
Jim,
letter and,
I sent Jim the email correspondence I had, along with the
The
email
original
estimate,
estimate, yeah.
right?
We have that number, we have a hard copy of that.
Right, yes. And I've got it signed here by you on the 21st, and then when I say I scanned this back, and let them know, and then it was after all that, that they come to me with the cost
Yeah.
increase. So,
Okay, thank you, Ben. That was a good presentation. It really filled us in on every detail that
Yeah.
we need.
right, well, I want to be honest with you, if we're going to, go after someone, I want you guys to know what
Yeah,
discussion took place.
that's very important.
Am I okay to say to them if this cost goes up to that the county will seek litigation, or should I just let it be and let them send me what they want? You got a preference how I respond?
I would say we reject that. I don't know what's your opinion, Jim, that we would reject that kind of an offer, that kind of an increase.
well, I'd let them know that we believe that we have an enforceable contract by all the activity that followed getting the estimate, and that
we're going
we've
to turn it
got
over.
nothing to lose initiating litigation.
We'll just turn it over to the attorney. We disagree with the revised charge, and
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
I would note that I stood there with Ben and Bill, and other two guys from NIPSCO, and they pointed to the creek. Yeah, we got to bore under that creek.
Yeah.
We think we can do this for you. And they talked about how great this kid was that they fired meeting there. So I don't understand this.
Yeah.
I say stick to our guns, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah,
Thank you, Todd.
Okay.
What next, Ben?
get awful chilly in the highway department with no gas.
Yeah, maybe I have Brett leave that wood burner there, huh?
Yeah.
So,
Maybe we want to keep that tree.
yeah.
Firewood.
Yeah. That's all I have for you guys today, for business. Unless you guys have anything else for me.
Anything for Ben? Mike?
Nope, appreciated your assistance with the presentation to St. Joe.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah. Todd?
Builder, but
Yes, it is.
Yes.
you're not gonna. Another 3-6 months.
Yeah. Yes. I think we need to bring this back up, the ordinance back up and revisit the buggy ordinance sooner than later. I did talk to the gentleman, I forget his name, that represented the Amish community, Bishop down there. Very apologetic, very sorry the situation didn't happen. And this other gentleman, Mr. Zier, was the one who organized it and seemed to think he could do whatever he wanted to do, and he didn't really have to ask anybody for permission or anything of the sort. What do we do about the road damage? I think we leave that on the table, not really act on it at this time. But I think we need to go after the buggy ordinance and bring that back up, do some adjustments on it, and come to some kind of a number we want to put on that for a fee, and get it advertised and get it back to meeting. I know we have support for the ordinance. It really has grown. I've gotten several phone calls now in support of doing something to garnish get some money to repair these damages. So that's my wish. Any,
I'm fine with it. I didn't want to drop it in the first place, so I'm fine with bringing it.
well,
Bring it up.
the issue was, of course, the amount.
Yeah,
And we felt
yeah.
like what you proposed wasn't enough even as a starting point.
Guys, the only reason I wanted to drop it I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't want to drop it either. Here's the thing, though. We had a room full of people, including the mayor of Auburn, who staged to kill this thing immediately. And what happened, and no one showed up in defense. No one said, hey, no, they need to pay. I got a phone call and an email from one person. But I think people need to see the damage that's happening, experience it, and then they'll say, yeah, this isn't right. Right now, we see the damage that's coming, but it's still not realized by the average person. I think once they realize it, I think the number I'm thinking right now, but it ain't even close to what we originally proposed. I think we need to see the damage, and we need people to see that damage and come into the commissioner's court like they did for the solar today and express their concerns.
I'm game to hear what anybody has to say and discuss anything.
Can we
comes
bring
up.
this up to hearing without a number actually on the ordinance and do the number after or during the hearing or after the hearing? Does that have to be established before the hearing?
They're going to be, I don't,
You-
you
Well,
can
you
have a
have-
hearing anytime you want to call for it.
Yeah, but you have to have at least a draft of an ordinance if you're going to have a public hearing on the ordinance.
You have, so that the people that appear and want to be heard
Yeah,
know what's at stake.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need to come up with a number at some point. And then Jim can get the ordinance redrafted with a new number. If any other possible changes that we would want to make.
Yeah,
from
there
the
were other
original.
things that were discussed, like the light
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
position and.
Put it on next Monday's agenda.
Let's do that. Let's put on next Monday's
We'll talk
agenda.
about details and,
Everybody think about it. Maybe Todd, you think you'll be back next Monday, or it doesn't really matter. We got you
Oh,
on.
yeah. I'll either be back in a casket or in my car.
Hey, buddy, don't be talking no casket thing now. Yeah, let's put it on the agenda for Monday. Everybody give this some thought.
But not a hearing on Monday, just
No,
on
no.
the agenda
This is
for
just come up with
Monday.
an
That's
agenda
what I
to
assumed.
discuss it and come up with a number
Yep.
that we're going to put in this ordinance, and any other changes that we think we might.
And Carla, I know you're filling in this week, but do we have, it would be helpful, and I don't know where to look, because I haven't done it. That which the prior county commissioners approved the requirement to have a permit to hold a parade somewhere. Because if that's in there and we can establish evidence that that if a permit had been requested, it would have been denied because it included on that route where the damage was all done, we maybe not be able to go after the guy that was driving the vehicle. We might have to go after the organizer who was required to get a permit.
Right, right.
But I don't know where I'd go looking for it.
I hope you have better luck than I do using the search function on the county website, because I can't ever find anything.
Well, that's why I turned it over.
Hey, guys.
Yes, Todd.
One thing I would suggest, and again, that's one reason I wanted to wait to see damage, and we got to get Ben involved here. We need to come up with a number of how many miles we think will be affected, needing repair in like call it a 2 to 5 year time frame, or whatever. Because that's, how can you come up with a amount to charge if you don't know how much road repairs really going to be?
How else can we?
Yeah.
And so I would like to see us really look at the roads that are being affected and say, okay, 3 years from now, this road will be chip and sealed again, or filled, or whatever. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And then we can come up with a number. And just to throw an amount out willy-nilly, I think would be, we really need to see what we.
Well, you have to have some basis for the calculations. Sure.
Yeah, otherwise you're just throwing, it's like monkeys throwing at a dart, you know. So that's what government does. I'd rather not.
Can you give us an idea on that, Ben? I know it's kind of a iffy.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one to figure out.
You have to
for
know
sure.
where they live, well, what roads, we kind of know, I guess, what roads they use, but we need the main, at least the main traveled roads that's traveled daily.
Yeah, I mean, the radius from home is not great, so it's going to be concentrated in that
Right.
southeast area.
What is that, Spencer Township? No, what is that township?
You know, I can't keep our townships. We got 15 townships in this county.
That's,
Well, of course, Spencer,
Wild Concord and,
Concord.
no, it's not Spencer.
I have to think how I want to try to figure that.
Yeah. Block off a corner down there.
Well, even just figuring the where and the population and let me do a little chewing on it.
Okay. All right. That's all I had on my list. Todd, you anything for Ben?
Nothing for Ben, I have something for Todd, though.
Okay. Anything?
The man that was here about.
Yeah. We agreed, yeah, that's good.
Do you have any update on the coroner's straight truck, Todd?
Yeah, I've got the check in my briefcase, and then I headed down here before I could give it to Susan, and as soon as I get back, I'll give her the check.
Oh, awesome. What did we get out of it?
$3,500 the way it says. I ate all the reconditioning I did to it. The wiring and everything, when they went through, they just ripped all the wires out. There was live wires going everywhere. Painted the frame, we painted the back, keep working properly. Air conditioning doesn't work. Either unit, the box or the unit. A decent old truck, and I believe the miles might be. Problem is, 20 years ago, it was deemed over
Mechanical limits, yeah.
speedometer. Yeah, which puts it in 1,020,000 miles. So, but yeah, it's already sold and done.
Oh, great.
I don't think they picked it up.
What truck was this for
That
the
was the
minutes?
coroner's
It's a
refrigerated truck.
yeah, it's a 1994 or 97 Suzu box truck.
So I'd gotten an email from the coroner, and we talked about this a couple meetings ago when you weren't here or on the Zoom. But they need a cargo van now. That's what they need to do their thing. So I don't know if you have a way to, it needs to be a full-size minivan, won't work. I don't know if you can,
Unfortunately, that is probably the hardest vehicle. Yeah, down here in Florida, they're estimating they need at least 100,000 trucks in full-size cargo industry down here. We just sold a bunch of minivans to a guy that's bringing us down here. You might want to look into a new one, because I think a used one, you're going to pay just as much, if not more, than a new one.
okay.
I hate to say that, but I think it's the only option if that's what they really need.
That seems to be where the market is, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and they want to get in line pretty quick if they need it, because it's probably a 6 month.
Okay. The second component of that whole situation is there is a an auto load for loading bodies.
Yes.
And it won't fit in their the big Chevrolet SUV. Can't think what they're called.
Well, the,
Is that the thing that we approved the purchase of about a year and a half ago, the
Yeah, they
automated gurney or something?
they got it, it was an IPAP grant, I think.
the
Yeah, I
Suburban,
remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
Suburban,
that.
yeah, it won't fit in their Suburban. So right now, they don't have anything to put it in, and it's really awkward to store. Mike doesn't really particularly want to store it in his garage. So Parkview just got a 5th ambulance for the county, and they need an auto load for that vehicle. They have one ordered, but it won't be in until the end of January. So there is a potential to let Parkview install the one we have. Mike doesn't have to store it or anything. And then they will give us the new one when it comes in January. And
I
I
like
can,
that idea.
I can get that confirmed in writing from Parkview, Chad Owen, who's the head of Parkview EMS.
I see no problem
That makes
with
sense to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see no problem with that.
All right, well, I'll contact Chad and get that confirmed in writing then, and then get with Mike and,
Yeah, because we're not going to have a vehicle to put it in until at least
Yeah.
January.
yeah,
Beyond that, January.
all right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Add to or comment.
Yeah, Mike, sure.
I'm going to take up much of your time because I know it's drawing to the end, but just a couple more things to consider regarding solar. I've been told that the solar panels are only about 20% efficient. We should delve into that and see what it really is, but I think the silicone panels are even less efficient. So what I mean by efficient is like 20% of the day is actually, gathering energy. But these are just things to consider. Local assessors versus appraisers. I called and talked to 14 appraisers. I called 14 appraisers. I talked to 8, and all of them said they don't have any local data because it's so new. But they all definitely agreed that it's going to be detrimental to property values, especially the closer the solar panel fields are to the other non-participating neighbors. So those are two things. There is a study for property values that up to 30% devaluating the homes that are near there. And of course, the closer it is, it's going to be worse. And then we talked about property rights. I'm all about property rights. I think people should be able to do, what they want as long as they're not infringing on, other neighbors. And what I mean by that is, like with all the fences, that's going to force animals in certain directions. So I'm looking at being affected on 3 sides of my property on 46. And so I know there's things in ordinances that talk about us being able to enjoy and use our land as well. So it's just, I'm thinking about the solar fields and how that's going to affect non-participating. And then we talked about like industrial versus agricultural. We moved into the country because it's an agricultural thing. I'd almost rather have a pig farm than an industrial site around me. So those are just a few of the things we should consider.
Okay.
Well, you could easily have an industrial site. A factory could just as easily buy that land as a solar company.
Would they have to rezone and go through a process?
Yeah, so does a solar company.
Right. I would be up here if that was the case as well. So
I really have to question that 20% efficiency thing. I mean, if.
We
if-
should
if-
delve into
If that's true, it would make no economic sense at all.
it's just the government throwing money at
Yeah.
these solar companies.
None of this makes economic sense.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
And
Not,
it's going to
except for
change
the
the
county.
landscape of DeKalb County.
it's everybody's money is going to have to contribute.
Exactly. We're paying for them
Everybody's
to
gonna
do this
pay
to
for
our
this.
county. So I just wanted to say those few things.
If they had to stand
Thank you.
alone on their own, they'd.
I'm sorry?
If they had to stand alone on their own, they would not make it.
No.
Well, I'll take that back to one degree. They would either have to have continued
from
subsidies or
American
they'd have to
Heritage.
raise the electric charges considerably.
Right. Because this is so new to this area, we've looked at different states, and these companies are coming in, they're making all the promises, they're getting all the money, and then in 2 years, they're gonna declare bankruptcy and then, or sell the contracts
Okay, from
to other
bond,
companies. They're gonna come in to these farmers and have to
Oh,
renegotiate
bond.
contracts.
Oh,
It's just,
okay.
it's kind of ugly out there if you look at other states.
And that's Randy.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? Jim?
Can't think of anything.
Carla?
This pavement solution, you guys, Susan said that's for the damage to the road. Gonna discuss that further
Yeah, that's on the table for now.
on the table.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's in limbo.
Limbo.
That's in limbo. That was road damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's in limbo. Anything else? Anyone? Todd? Good. All right,
I hope you get good soon.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be good.
I-
I'll be good. I'm ready to come back. I've had enough of this. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. You won't believe it.
You're looking better than you did at the beginning of this.
And I feel a little better, actually. I think interacting with people is helpful.
Yeah.
Here by myself.
See how good we are for you?
Either that or Angie hit you with, either that or Angie hit you with makeup during the break.
No, she's at home, so.
Oh, okay.
She's there with you.
Okay. All right, if that's it, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, Todd.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, I'll give you a call. I didn't get your message earlier. I missed it.
Oh, that's okay. I got it.
All right, I'll get back to you.
Thanks, bud.
Yep.
Well, have a good day. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. It was just sinuses and then, and then put down. If I don't have one of these or two a year,
Regular event. See you Thursday, if not before.
You guys, we're still. We're still live. We're still live. How do we shut
Done into your web
And do I have to do anything? Where's Ben? Hey, Ben, can you come here a minute? Gotta, thank you. So it'll quit after. I just gotta ask you some